Why is the CEO of the world's most powerful AI company also building a global eyeball database? That's the question. And the answer is more unsettling than you'd expect. Not because it's hidden, but because it's sitting right there in plain sight, scattered across press releases and corporate filings and interviews where Sam Altman basically tells you what he's doing. You just have to connect the pieces. So let's connect them. In 2019, Sam Altman went on a walk through San Francisco with a guy named Alex Blania. They talked about a future where AI would be so advanced, so human-like, that you wouldn't be able to tell whether what you read, saw, or heard online came from a real person. And Altman decided he needed to build something, not just the AI itself, which he was already doing at OpenAI, but the solution to the problem the AI would create. That same year, he co-founded a company called Tools for Humanity. And that same year, 2019, OpenAI quietly restructured from a nonprofit into a capped profit company. The charity that was supposed to develop AI safely for all of humanity started becoming a business. By 2025, OpenAI hit a $500 billion valuation, 700 million weekly users, $12 billion in annualized revenue, the world's most valuable private company. But here's what most people miss. OpenAI was never the end game. It was step one. Let me walk you through the playbook. Step one, flood the internet with AI-generated content until humans become unverifiable. And this isn't hypothetical, it's already happened. By 2025, deepfakes of public figures were blending seamlessly into social media. A meta-analysis of 56 research papers found that human evaluators were barely better than a coin flip at detecting deepfake videos. Articles, reviews, even academic papers, increasingly machine-written, almost never labeled. The internet is drowning in synthetic content, and a huge chunk of it was made possible by OpenAI's own products. ChatGPT, DALL-E, Sora, their API powering thousands of other tools. Altman himself acknowledged this. He said, quote, "We wanted a way to make sure that humans stayed special and central in a world where the internet was going to have lots of AI-driven content." Now, you'd think the guy creating the problem would feel some tension about also selling the solution. Nope. Step two, position your other company as the only fix. This is where the orb comes in. That silver sphere you might have seen in photos, it scans your face and iris for about 30 seconds, creates a unique 12,800 digit binary code from your eye, and gives you what's called a world ID, your proof that you're a real human being. Tools for Humanity, rebranded simply as World, has now verified over 17.8 million people across more than 160 countries. 38 million total users. Someone signs up every 1.7 seconds, and the pitch is elegant. In a world where AI makes everything fake, World ID is your receipt that you're real. But here's where the circular logic gets dizzying. OpenAI itself reportedly started developing a social network that would use proof of personhood, potentially world's own iris scanning technology. When that news broke, World's crypto tokens surged 16%. The company creating the AI that makes humans unverifiable may integrate the verification tool built by its own CEO. He's selling you the disease and the cure. And his co-founder, Alex Blania, said it plainly, 99.9% of internet traffic will be AI-driven. It's not about combating the bots. That will be a lost cause. So if fighting bots is a lost cause, what's the real play? Step three, and this is where it gets dark. Test it on the people who can't push back. Before World launched in the United States in 2025, it spent years collecting biometric data in the developing world. Kenya, Indonesia, Sudan. An MIT technology review investigation found that in villages across West Java, representatives showed up offering what they called social assistance giveaways and scanned people's irises without clearly explaining what they were doing. In some places, Spanish speakers were handed terms of service written in English. In Sudan, people were lured with free AirPods. Payments were made to local government officials. A digital anthropologist named Payal Aurora explained the logic. Stronger data protection laws in Europe and the US mean ambitious entrepreneurs can't get all the data they need from their own populations. So they look to the developing world. A researcher at Northumbria University called it crypto colonialism, blockchain experiments imposed on vulnerable communities because those people can't push back. In Berlin, hustlers figured out the game and started paying homeless people and refugees to get their eyes scanned, then pocketing the crypto rewards. A 10-person brawl broke out at one scanning station. At least 12 countries have now banned, suspended, or investigated World's operations. Kenya, Spain, Germany, Hong Kong, South Korea, Indonesia, Portugal. The list keeps growing. In May 2025, a Kenyan court issued one of the most damning rulings in tech history. The judge wrote, "Kenyans are not lab rats for global tech experiments. Our eyes are not tokens. Our poverty must not be weaponized through inducements masked as innovation." The court found that offering cryptocurrency in exchange for biometric data invalidated any notion of free and informed consent. They ordered permanent deletion of all data collected. And here's a detail that should make your skin crawl. Bavaria's Data Protection Authority discovered that from July 2023 to May 2024, World was storing iris codes as plain text, not encrypted, not hashed, plain text. The very company promising a privacy-preserving future was caught violating basic data protection law. Now, step 4. This is the part that keeps me up at night. Sam Altman has been talking about universal basic income since at least 2016. He personally funded a $60 million 3-year study, 1,000 people receiving $1,000 a month. He's evolved his language from universal basic income to something grander. His words, universal extreme wealth for everybody. Sounds nice, right? Except look at the structure. Altman builds AI that displaces jobs. Goldman Sachs estimates 18% of global work could be automated, affecting up to 300 million full-time jobs. Then he advocates for UBI as the solution. Then he funds the research to prove it works. Then he builds the identity and financial infrastructure world through which that UBI would actually be distributed. World's own website states its aim includes eventually creating infrastructure for universal basic income programs. This isn't speculation. They wrote it down. One of World's own investors, Pantera Capital, spelled it out explicitly. In a black swan scenario where AI-driven productivity displaces human labor, governments may need to implement UBI programs and find proof of personhood indispensable. Think about what that means. He destroys the jobs, he controls the relief system, and the identity verification you need to access that relief, it runs through his platform. A researcher at Simon Fraser University published a peer-reviewed paper arguing that tech elites advocating for UBI constitutes symbolic violence, using the language of social good to consolidate power. Step 5. Make World ID the permission layer for AI agents. In January 2025, World announced it was building tools to link AI agents to your verified human identity. If you have an AI assistant that books your flights, manages your finances, negotiates on your behalf, that agent needs to prove it's acting for a real person. And if World ID becomes the dominant proof of personhood protocol, then every AI agent needs to pass through Altman's gate. He described the vision himself at a Sequoia event. There is a new protocol on the level of HTTP for the future of the internet, where agents are constantly exposing and using different tools and authentication, payment, data transfer. It's all built in at this level that everybody trusts. A new protocol on the level of HTTP. Let that sink in. He's not building an app. He's building the infrastructure layer that the entire AI-driven internet runs on. Step 6, and this is the end game. He owns the identity protocol. Tools for Humanity remains a for-profit company. Time magazine reported it could levy fees on every platform that uses the World Protocol. The promise of decentralization is aspirational, not structural. Right now, one company controls the orb manufacturing, the protocol development, the app, and the ecosystem. The Electronic Privacy Information Center called it a potential privacy nightmare that would place Sam Altman's company at the center of digital governance. Edward Snowden's take was simpler. Don't catalog eyeballs. And when Time asked Altman why anyone should trust him to eventually surrender this power, especially given OpenAI's pattern of promising one thing and restructuring toward another, his answer was, I think you will just see the continued decentralization via the protocol. That's it. Just trust me. Now look at the full portfolio. OpenAI for the AI, World for the identity layer, a $60 million UBI study for the social safety net, Merge Labs for brain-computer interfaces, $252 million seed round with OpenAI itself as an investor. Helion Energy and Oklo for the power to run it all, because OpenAI needs 250 gigawatts of capacity by 2033, roughly equivalent to India's entire electricity consumption. He told the Financial Times that it should be governments building these systems, identity infrastructure, AI, fusion, reactors. And yet they're not, he said. So you do the next best thing and just build great companies. That's the tell. He's not building products, he's building what governments should have built, except he'll own it. Every piece fits: the AI that makes humans unverifiable, the identity system that re-verifies them, the financial rails that distribute relief when jobs disappear, the permission layer that every AI agent needs to function, the energy infrastructure that powers all of it. One man, one interlocking set of companies, and a vision where the most fundamental question of the internet age, are you human, gets answered by a for-profit corporation he founded. The scariest part? None of this is secret. He's been telling us the whole time. We just weren't listening carefully enough. Thanks for watching. If you found this insightful, give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more deep dives into the tech that shapes our